All right, guys, we are live again for the PM session. A little bit behind, so we're gonna run. We're gonna run it at 2 times speed since there's no videos or anything going on, and get caught up. I'm gonna go mobile for a little while. I've got a couple things I've got to do. So I'm gonna be watching this mobile. Then I'll be back in studio in a little bit. But let's get this thing up and running here, and we'll go from there. So. We have the phone expert back on the stand, and he's going to be taking us through, finish taking us through, I assume, the phone records, and we'll go from there.
Can you go ahead and just read that and remind us if this is a message that was sent by the phone or received by the phone?
Sure. So this was a message that was received by Ms. Gutierrez Reed's phone from the Dadcula contact that says, get someone to show her a single action gun and how it works. They don't go off by themselves. And then beneath that is an incoming message from Mr. Bowles' phone to Ms. Gutierrez Reed's phone that says, yes, I sent her this manual I got today also.
What's the problem?
You want me to just read them?
Just read them. Let's just, we gotta get this done. Thank you, sir. Here's Exhibit 96 that I handed you. Can you just go ahead and read it, explain to the jurors what you're reading, given that they've already saw it?
Yeah, so this is Exhibit 96. The first page I've already just read. The second page...
And Mr. Hawks, what's the date of these conversations?
Sorry, this is December 1st, 2021. The second page starts with a message from Mr. Bowles to Ms. Reed that says, I think I sent this, with an attachment. Beneath that is an outgoing message from Ms. Reed that says, yeah, honestly, that gun won't go off unless he fully cocked it. And then the final message on that page is a message from the Dadcula contact that said if someone could just show her, she could see a transfer makes no difference. The final page starts with an outgoing message from Ms. Reed that says, yeah, we got some that just aren't long-barreled. They're the same thing. And then finally, a message from the Dadcula contact that says exactly.
Yeah, Coach. I'm going to hand you what's been marked as State's Exhibit 95. And would you go ahead and do the same thing with 95?
Certainly. So 95 is from November 8th of 2021, and the first message is an outgoing message from Ms. Reed that says, hey, I need you to check out my boxes and send me some pictures of our boxes of dummies. The second page starts with an incoming text from the Dadcula contact that says will do, and then beneath that is another incoming text message with a photograph.
And at my request, did you separate that photograph? Did you isolate that photograph for me?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to show you what's been previously entered into evidence as State's Exhibit 69, and we're going to do this the quick and old-fashioned way. Can you see that?
Yes.
Sorry to the dirty screen. What is that?
That is the image that was sent via text message, via iMessage, to Ms. Reed's phone from the Dadcula contact.
Thank you, sir. May I approach? Mr. Hawks, in addition to doing some work on Ms. Gutierrez's cell phone extraction, did you also do some work on cell phone extractions from some other folks involved in this case?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember their names?
There was a woman named Sarah, I don't remember her last name,
Okay.
and a gentleman whose name I don't remember. But
Okay.
I'm sure I would if you refresh my memory.
Well, I'm going to leave that to defense counsel, and I will pass the witness.
Thank you. Mr. Baldwin.
Hey, Judge. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
You mentioned you did some other extractions. Does the word Dave Falls ring a bell?
Yes.
All right, is that the other phone that you looked at?
Correct.
All right. And Judge, if I can publish just to his screen, please. Sure.
So I can see what's on the screen. Is that okay?
You can stand there, stay here, wherever you'd like. It'll be quicker to do it this way because then I can publish it if the judge admits it. Okay.
Here, why don't I just stand here and I'll look over your shoulder? That's perfect.
Yeah, that works. All right, sir, what are you looking at?
On that screen, on your screen is different. I'm showing you. I don't mind. No, sir.
All right, what are you looking at here, sir?
I'm looking at the first page of a PDF of a Cellbrite report that was done by the New Mexico RCFL,
Right.
of the phone that you just asked me about.
All right, and can you scroll down to the second page?
Yes.
All right. So what is this device information? What does this tell you?
So this is a summary of the data that is in this PDF report. It involves chats, native messages, which are, in this case, iMessages, WhatsApp, emails, timeline, and then data files, which include images and videos.
Okay. Is there information about deleted information on this device?
There is.
Can you tell us about that, please?
So the report indicates that there's one deleted iMessage and one deleted WhatsApp. In addition to that, there are 5 deleted emails, and there are some deleted images, but without knowing what the images are, I don't know if they're things that he actually deleted or if they were cached images that got purged.
And how many images are notated on the report as being deleted?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, help yourself. Sorry.
So there's 152,237 images total, and there's 1,438 that are deleted.
You just hold on.
And then 3,214 videos with 7 deleted.
Okay. And when you're looking at a device and you see that something's been deleted, what does that actually mean? What is that telling you?
It means that it was deleted and recovered. So if I delete something from my cell phone and it's overwritten, or that memory is actually purged, then it's not recovered and there's just no evidence of it. So this shows that there were items that were deleted and recovered by the program.
All right. And you have no way of knowing if additional things were deleted because it just wouldn't be extracted. You wouldn't have the information to look at.
Correct.
All right. And in your experience, do you know that sometimes happens?
I know that it can happen. I mean, if it's not there, I don't know that it was there to begin with and was deleted, but it certainly can happen.
Actually, I'll just leave this with you. So if you can go to the emails page on that document.
Can you choose every one?
I do.
All right. There's about 20 emails in Mr. Hall's extraction here. How do you know that these are actually his emails?
So there's incoming emails. The top one is an incoming email. Just to avoid what we had earlier, it's to a Gmail address. So that means that account was installed on the phone, and this is an email that was received by his phone, signed into an email address associated with him.
Okay. So that physical phone has access to that email address.
Yes.
Okay. Judge, I would move to conditionally admit defendant's exhibit O.
Counsel approach.
Thank you.
Yes.
And sir, you had mentioned emails being deleted. Can you say with certainty that emails were deleted from Mr. Hall's phone?
Well, Cellbrite recovered deleted information. So yes, it was recovered from it's a recovered deleted email.
Okay. And the email that actually, we don't have. I'll just if I could approach it now. All right, sir. I'm handing you what I've marked as defendant's exhibit P. Can you look at the first 2 pages of that document, please?
Yes.
All right. What is that?
This is an iPhone 11.
Is it Sarah Zachary's phone?
I'm looking for the device name.
Counsel approach.
And I need to see what the stipulates.
Hold on, I need to.
The state will stipulate that what Mr. Hawks is looking at is a cell phone extraction of the witness, Sarah Zachary.
Judge, may I retrieve my...
Yes.
Thanks. All right, sir, with both Mr. Hall's phone and Sarah Zachary's phone, are the dates and timestamps listed in the extraction for text messages and emails, are those accurate?
Yes.
And how do you know that?
So everything in our phones in these SQLite databases is stored in UTC by default. What Cellbrite does is it converts it to whatever time zone we want it converted to. In this case, Mountain Time.
Okay, so the foundational testimony you gave at length regarding my client's phone would apply with equal force to both Mr. Hall's phone and Ms. Zachary's phone?
Yes, these are things that are written at the time.
Okay. Did you have any other role in this case? Did you do any other work in this case?
No, my primary role was to help the prosecutor sort of sift through various pictures and that sort of thing to make sure only images that were native to the phone came in, not cached images or things that were beyond her control.
You mentioned on direct exam that there are some things that you don't get in a extraction. Would one of those things be something stored on a cloud, like an iCloud?
It depends. Are you referring to a document or an image?
Why don't you describe both?
So if we have things on our iCloud, typically it can be stored also locally on the phone and on the iCloud, or in the case of photographs, your phone may keep a little thumbnail that is a link to your iCloud account. So in that case, the original photo would not be on the handset. It would be on the cloud, but that thumbnail is essentially a gateway to the original image.
Okay. If something is just on the cloud and you don't have a gateway, as you described, is there a way to actually go get that information?
You could get it with a search warrant.
Okay. Did you discuss doing any kind of search warrant to retrieve images or texts or video from Sarah Zachary that she may have in the cloud?
No.
No? Do you recall having a email discussion on October 12th, 2023 with Ms. Morrissey about this subject?
I don't. I know that Miss Morrissey, if you're telling me I had one with her, then perhaps I did. I sent her some various subpoena language. I don't remember this iCloud being part of it, but if you're telling me it was there, then I did.
Would looking at the email refresh your recollection?
Yes.
Back to approach?
Can I see it?
Sure.
Discussion about a subpoena or search warrant. Right, but what? This doesn't have anything to do with a search warrant or subpoena.
Okay, this is for refreshing recollection, so you've seen it,
Okay.
yeah.
See if you can refresh it.
Thank you.
Let me know when you finish reading it, please.
I assume you want me to read all of it, correct?
Just the top one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If it's refresh your recollection, let me know, and if not, let me know.
Yeah, so this is what I was referring to as far as,
So you're going to give that back to him, and he's going to ask
Yeah.
if this refreshes your memory to the question he asked you.
Yeah, did that refresh your memory, sir?
what I think I meant by that, and I'm not really sure, so I can't say with 100% certainty if I was referring to, I'm sorry, you have a question beyond that, or it refreshed my recollection of the conversation, yes.
Okay. So on Ms. Zachary's phone, you were requested to get text, videos, and photos from September 15th, 2021 to November 21st, 2021. And you indicated that there were some photos that were not on her phone but might be on her iCloud account. Did you have further discussion about how you might go obtain those photos?
No, I think what we're referring to the same thing. I believe my recollection is that I'm referring to the thumbnails. So if I were to download a thumbnail from a phone and you were to put it onto a television screen, it just gets blurry as opposed to the actual full-size image. That's my recollection of the full-size image may be on the iCloud. Okay.
And you said in here that there are no entries on the phone or image metadata, right?
Correct.
All right. I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Thank you.
Redirect.
Just real quick, Mr. Hawks. Is it possible for a person's phone to delete things without the operator of the phone intending for that to happen?
What do you mean specifically?
And I thought there was a discussion earlier when we were off the record that sometimes the phone automatically deletes certain things. That's what I'm referring to.
So you're referring to cached images.
Right.
So when we go to a website or social media, our phone will capture a series of images, and those images go into what's called a cache folder. And after a certain amount of time, that cache folder automatically will delete. But that's not from the person's camera roll.
And it wouldn't be from their email either?
Email contents? You mean?
I'm speaking about what Mr. Bullion was referencing with regard to Mr. Halls's deleted data.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
It wouldn't, no.
Okay, I just wanted to square that up. Thank you. I don't have anything further. Appreciate you.
Your excuse.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next witness.
And just for the record, I'm going to reserve, just in case we need
Okay.
to bring back.
You're reserved. Don't talk to any witnesses.
Yes, ma'am.
The state calls Catherine Rowe Walters.
Do you swear affirm under penalty of law that the testimony you'll give in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, have a seat, talk into the microphone. Thank you.
Go ahead and state your full name.
Full name, Catherine Elizabeth Walters.
Thank you. And do you go by Rowe?
Yes, ma'am.
Alrighty. Ms. Walters, were you a member of the crew of the movie Rust?
Yes, ma'am.
And what role did you have?
I was the unit production manager.
What does a unit production manager do?
A unit production manager is the person on set who is making sure the day-to-day operations go smoothly.
All right. And are you familiar with Ms. Gutierrez?
I am.
Your role on set, if a crew member needs something, would you maybe be the person they would go to?
Yes, ma'am.
So I want to ask you, did Ms. Gutierrez ever specifically request from you additional training time with Mr. Baldwin?
Not to me.
Did Ms. Gutierrez request generally additional training days as an armorer from you?
No, not for me.
We understand that there was a prop truck on the movie set, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
During the filming of the movie, before the incident that occurred on October 21st, when filming wasn't going on, so in the evenings or on the weekends, how was that prop truck secured?
There's a side door on that truck, and the back roll-up door, are secured by padlocks.
And so that happened even prior to October 21st?
Yes, ma'am.
And who would lock the truck in the evening or for the weekend?
Either it would be the department heads or it would be the Teamsters who were maintaining the trucks.
And so were they combination locks or key locks?
I believe they were key locks, but I don't remember.
Can you tell us who had access, who had the keys, who could go get in the prop truck?
It would be anyone. It would be anyone who had the keys to do it. The department heads were the ones that usually had keys or combinations.
Who were the department heads? Can you just give us their names?
Sure. So for props, it was Sarah Zachary. For armory, and I believe that Sarah and Hannah shared keys. The other department heads would have been Sergey and a couple of others that I honestly don't recall, but they would have had keys to their trucks.
And they have keys to the locks that lock the truck?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And did you have a key to the locks?
No.
Well, did Ms. Gutierrez reach out to you a couple days after Ms. Hutchins' death and ask to meet you at the prop truck?
Yes.
And why did she want to meet you at the prop truck?
She was getting ready to head back home and wanted to grab some personal effects off the truck.
And were you able to provide her access to the truck?
Yes.
How were you able to do that if you didn't have the keys?
So after the incident occurred, we had the Teamsters pull all of the locks off the trucks and had a different set of keys so that the only people who would have access were myself and the Teamster captain were the only two people who had those access.
And why would the Teamster have access to the truck?
Because they were the ones, if they needed to move it for any reason, do any maintenance, any of those things.
Okay. You have actual Teamsters that are working on the movie set that are maintaining the trucks?
Yes, ma'am.
And driving the trucks?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So when Ms. Gutierrez, do you recall the date that Ms. Gutierrez asked you to meet at the prop truck?
I do not.
Do you agree that it was just a couple days after the incident?
I do.
Okay. And do you know everything that Ms. Gutierrez took out of the prop truck?
I do not.
Did you see any of the items that she took out of the prop truck?
I saw a few things, but I don't remember exactly everything.
Can you just describe to us the few things that you did see her take out of the prop truck?
I remember a couple of gun belts, and I think I remember a couple of cardboard boxes, but nothing other than that.
Okay. And Ms. Gutierrez took these items from the prop truck prior to the police executing a search warrant on that truck. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. I will pass the witness. Thank you.
Cross-examine.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Ma'am, in addition to Ms. Gutierrez Reed, you allowed other people to get their personal effects as well, didn't you?
From the set?
Yes.
Yes.
So after the incident, the law enforcement cleared the scene, and everybody thought it was clear, correct?
Correct.
And so you allowed multiple people to get their personal effects, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So it wasn't just Ms. Gutierrez Reed.
Correct.
Okay. Now, with regard to that set, I want to ask you, were you aware of the camera crew walking off
Yes.
and they were disgruntled?
Yes.
When did they walk off that set?
I received resignation emails the night before.
Okay. So this was the night before the incident, the night before the shooting. And these camera crew, and how many of them walked off?
My memory says 6, which was the full team.
So the full team, the full camera crew walked off set. So for the set next day, you have to get a new camera crew.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and were you in charge of that?
It was a a joint effort between myself, my line producer Gabrielle Pickle, and our producers as well.
Are you and Miss Pickle, do you talk, or on the set, did you talk quite a bit? Did you talk daily?
Yes.
Okay, so, and I don't want to get into hearsay comments, what somebody else said, but were you aware that Miss Gutierrez Reed had requested additional training of Mr. Baldwin?
For Mr. Baldwin, no.
Okay, you never had that discussion with her,
No.
but do you know whether Miss Pickle did?
I honestly don't remember.
Okay, so let's go back. You and a couple more people are trying to get the camera crew, is that right? And did you get them for the next day?
We did.
Okay, you had to scramble. I mean, that night, is that make calls that night?
Yeah, I was making calls at night and very early the next morning.
The camera crew that walked off because they were disgruntled, did they come to the set that next morning?
They did.
Do you know what they were doing the next morning? Did you watch them or did you see them?
Yeah, I was with them for part of the morning. They were retrieving their own personal effects off of the camera truck.
Okay. Did you see any of them walk around to other parts of set, or were they just getting their effects?
From what I remember, they were just around the truck.
Okay. The prop truck, during the day, that was not secured during the days of set. Is that correct?
As far as I know, it was not secured, no.
Okay. So during the day that filming goes on, and what are the hours of that generally?
Generally, we would start anywhere between 6 and 7 a.m. and go till 7 or 8 p.m.
Okay, so for approximately that 12 or 13 hour period, whatever it would be, that prop truck was open.
As far as I know, yes.
Okay. Theoretically, everybody on set could have had access to that prop truck.
Theoretically.
Okay. Now, you said that it was you and the Teamsters that would secure that truck after hours. Is that right?
It would be the department heads and the Teamsters.
Department heads and Teamsters.
Yeah.
Who was the person, the Teamster in particular, that would do that?
I do not remember his name.
Okay. After the shooting, do you remember who that Teamster, who that captain, I think you said was?
I would honestly have to go back through my notes. I cannot remember his name right now.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah.
And do you have your notes, or?
I do not.
That's okay. Okay, so you don't remember his name.
I do not.
Okay. Did you check every night before you left to make sure that prop truck was locked?
No.
Okay. Now, with regard to Miss Gutierrez Reed, my understanding is that you never heard any complaints about her.
I did not.
Okay. And that was the entire time of the rest set.
Correct.
Okay. Let me ask you also, after the incident, after the shooting, I understand you went into the church approximately 2 days after.
That sounds correct, yes.
Okay. And you were going to remove media?
Yes.
Is that right? Were
Yes.
you trying to assist them to remove the media from the camera to see if anything had been filmed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that was with regard to filming of the actual shooting, correct?
Yes, sir.
And were you able to remove that?
I was.
Were you able to determine whether there was any filming?
Of the incident?
Yes.
There was no filming of the incident that was recorded.
Okay. Do you know whether anybody may have had access to that camera after the shooting and before you removed the media?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. When you said there was no filming, are you familiar enough with that camera system to know whether, if they're looking through the monitor, that it has to be rolling?
They can look through the monitor whether it's rolling or not.
Okay. So your knowledge of that camera is they can look through it without it rolling?
Correct.
Okay. Now, with regard to that prop truck search, you were present for that search, correct?
I was.
And you also present for that search was Seth Kinney.
Yes, he was there.
Okay. And you remember why Seth Kinney there? Did he go to provide the code?
No, I think he was there because a lot of the firearms that were there were his. So he was there to be with the sheriff's office.
He was there with the sheriff's office when they arrived?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you know whether he was let into the prop truck? Do you recall that?
I do not recall.
Okay. Were you in the truck or outside when the search happened?
Outside.
Did you look inside the back of that truck?
I did.
Did you see that that prop cart in the truck?
I do not recall.
Okay. Now, if it was in the pictures, would you have any idea why the prop cart was in the prop truck?
I am confused by your question.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Let me ask you this way. If the prop cart was in the prop truck,
Uh-huh.
do you know who must have moved that into the prop truck?
I can make an assumption, but I do not know for sure
Yeah,
who would have
don't-
moved it.
No, don't guess. And
Yeah.
If you don't know, you don't know.
No.
Okay. All right. You indicated you got keys to the locks for the prop truck after the incident.
Yes, sir.
And you said the captain teamster had one too.
Yes.
Okay. Did you have the combo to that gun safe?
No.
Okay. Now, you talked a little bit about Baldwin and its safety training. Did you ever observe that training that was done with Baldwin?
I saw it from a distance, but I was not close enough to hear anything.
Okay. And did you observe that Baldwin was not really paying attention?
His back was to me, and they were up a hill. I do not know.
So you don't know that? Okay.
No, sir.
On the set, after it was over for the day, you're aware that Miss Gutierrez Reed, Miss Zachary, everybody had to basically clear out. They had to leave. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. So at the end of the day, it's fair to say they weren't accorded time to clean the prop truck because at the end of the day, they needed to go.
Correct.
And during the day, Miss Zachary, because this set's pretty busy,
Yep.
you agree with that? During the day, they're doing their prop jobs and their armor job duties, those kind of things, correct?
Correct.
So there's no time really to go back during the day, take a break, and go back and clean everything. And there's not at night either, is there?
Not that I know of, no.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Your Honor. I don't have any.
Redirect.
Ms. Walters, I want to be clear. Between October 21st and October 27th, did anyone other than Ms. Gutierrez request to get items out of the prop truck?
Not to me. Not to my knowledge.
It was only Ms. Gutierrez that you gave access to the prop truck between the 21st and the 27th.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And on the movie set, did you guys hire security guards?
There was 24-hour security at the gate, but they did not walk around on set.
Okay. But if someone were to try to drive in, they would encounter that security guard, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And is this location convenient to get to?
Not really.
Okay. I think you indicated on cross-examination that no one complained to you about Ms. Gutierrez. Do you recall saying that?
I do recall.
Isn't it true that one of the reasons that the camera crew indicated they were leaving was because of the accidental discharges from firearms on set?
Your
Correct.
Honor, I'm going to object on hearsay. That would be the basis for that.
Well, I'm basically impeaching her because she indicated.
Counsel approach, just you two.
Ms. Walters, do you know if one of the reasons that the camera crew left was because of accidental discharges on set?
They cited safety concerns, yes.
Did they specifically say accidental discharges on set?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. And Mr. Bowles asked you about the camera crew coming the following day to collect their belongings.
Yes, ma'am.
And I think you indicated that they stayed at the camera truck.
Mm-hmm.
Is that right?
To my knowledge, yes.
Okay. And is the camera truck and the prop truck the same thing?
No.
In your experience, do people on the camera crew frequently bring their own equipment, stands, cables, stuff like that?
Sometimes, yes.
And did they on the set of Rust?
Yes, they did.
Is that your understanding what they were taking?
Yes.
During the day, when filming was going on, was the prop truck being overseen by a driver? A member of the Teamsters that you hired?
He might not have been there all the time, but he was around, yes.
Okay. And I want to just ask you a couple of quick questions about your experience. How many films or productions, even TV is fine, have you been the unit production manager on prior to this?
Prior to this? 3 or 4.
And did any of those other productions have an armorer?
They did not.
This was the first production you worked on that had an armorer?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you. I don't have anything further.
Just real briefly, I asked you earlier about, you were saying that you don't remember, you couldn't see if Mr. Baldwin was paying attention during that training.
Correct.
Do you recall in your pretrial interview that you did indicate that he wasn't paying attention?
I had been told he wasn't paying attention. I did not physically see it.
Okay, so, and I don't want to get into the hearsay comment.
Sure.
So, but you didn't see it yourself?
I did not.
Okay. With regard to the, with regard to the accidental discharges, were you aware that there was a discharge with special effects?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're excused.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next witness.
Can we approach Charlotte?
Okay, first of all, guess what? You need to approach again.
I don't know if you think it's your lucky day, but we're going to break early. I think from the faces I see, it's a good thing. Okay. All right, but we have one question that we're going to ask you to go back in to your room and answer this question, and then come back out and get dismissed, and we give you all the don't forget language. Okay, it'll come clear to you. You're all going to go out. He's going to ask you that question. He's going to get your answer, and then he's going to give me the answer on that piece of paper, and then you all are going to come back in. Okay? All right.
All rise.
All right, you may be seated. when we're waiting here for the jury and Haven and I are, shooting the breeze, that it was being picked up on court TV. So, people knew that I walked my dogs when I got home, things like that. And so we just want to make sure we were all kind of squirmish on which things trigger us going on court TV. So that's why we went in the hallway. We didn't mean to be secretive. We just wanted to take a breather on feeling, a little, tight up here. That's why. Okay. So we wanted to share that because we didn't want to leave that impression. Okay. So they were supposed to write it down here, but you can tell me.
So do I need everyone to individually write?
No, I mean just let's see. Kind of the end. I don't need to do this now. And I'm sure you all are doing it as well, counsel. You're doing the same thing I'm doing, right?
I'm sorry, Your Honor?
You're reminding your witnesses not to watch court
Yes.
TV?
Yes.
Okay.
And we did mention experts, but other than that,
No experts were included.
at the start, Your Honor, we talked about experts being able to watch.
Oh, I didn't understand it that way.
I think that we agreed that our experts get to watch
Oh, okay,
because
that's fine.
they would
Okay.
be allowed in the courtroom.
Yeah, okay, I misunderstood. So, anyone that's not an expert witness, please do not get on court TV to watch, what has preceded you because we invoke the exclusion rule. Hello? Okay, Drew, so like I said, it's your lucky Friday. So you're getting recessed, and please don't talk among yourselves or anyone else about the evidence received here in court. Don't be looking at any news media accounts or any type of account, and anybody, and TikTok or whatever. And don't Google anything about the Rust situation, the production, or anything, or about the trial, and don't do any research. Okay, all right. Have a very rested weekend. We'll see you Monday at 8:30. Okay, all right. Thank you.
All rise.
And you know where to go on Monday. Okay. Don't forget to get those exhibits. What were they? K through. Okay. Okay. Thank you. We're in recess. Have a good weekend.
Thank you. If anything comes up.
we'll be advising the clerk to have the jurors brought out. And then I'll ask you, sir, to call the defense next witness.
Can we address subject matter jurisdiction that still has to be proven for the record?
I decline to do so. Your objection is noted for
Is
the
the
record.
audio on?
Your objection is noted for the record.
Is the audio on?
Yes, it's on, sir. It's on.
So we're not going to address subject matter jurisdiction that has yet to be proven for the record?
For the record, I have addressed it.
No, you haven't
And
proven it
there's
for
a
the
written,
record.
and your objection's noted for the
Have you
record.
proven subject matter jurisdiction for the record? Have you proven it? Has the prosecution proven it?
Oh, okay. Email that to her and print it out.
So that's a judicial determination that you don't have to answer that, Your Honor, being a public servant?
I was talking to my clerk. I didn't hear what you asked. The jury's coming in.
You heard what I asked.
I actually did not.
Come on, Your Honor. Come on now. Come on now. We gotta cut that out. You know you have to prove subject matter jurisdiction. You know that. You have to honor your oath of office. You know that.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated. The defense may call its next witness, please.
Give me 1 second. I'm trying to make sure I got the paperwork since I'm being rushed to judgment. That's not right. Oh, there you go. All right.
Go ahead.
Defense calls Erica Patterson.
All right, thank you. We'll have her brought in.
Since I'm being rushed to judgment.
Good morning, Ms. Patterson. If you would please make your way to the witness stand, which is on my right. You may recall it's upper riser. When you get there, please remain standing. Raise your right hand, and my coach, Teresa, who's across from you and on my left, will swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Yes.
Thank you. Please be seated. First thing I will ask you to do is to state your first and last names for the record.
Erica Patterson.
Thank you. Go ahead, your witness.
Oh, the one spelling the name?
I believe it's on the record from previously, but go ahead. You can spell your first and last names, please.
ErikaPatterson.
Just 1 second, Your Honor. I'm trying to find some relevant paperwork here. sorry about that. 1 second, I'm trying to find this paperwork. Just had it on the table.
When you're ready.
This paperwork.
Did you print that off for me? Did you email it to me? It's still not here. I'm like, what's your name? Did you stop?
I'm just gonna start the questioning. I'm not seeming to find paperwork that I just had on the table for some reason, odd reason. Good morning, Miss Patterson.
Good morning.
So, what do you do for a living?
I have my CNA certificate.
I'm gonna direct your attention to the evening of November 21st, 2021. Do you recall what you were doing that evening?
I was hanging out with my friend Corey at Frame Park. I had spoken to you, Mr. Dale Brooks. You came out there at Frame Park and met me after Miss Corey separated from me with her friend. Me and you got into an argument.
Whoa. Pursuant to the question?
I am answering your question.
I was referring to the judge.
I was hanging out
I
with
think
Miss
that kind of
Corey.
got a little ahead of.
Oh. Mr. Brooks, just, I'll let you interrupt the answer and you can ask a follow-up. I apologize, I was instructing the clerk to turn up the volume. So go ahead, ask your question.
Same question?
Sure.
What were you doing the evening of November 21st, 2021 before linking up with the alleged defendant?
Hanging with my roommate at the time at Frame Park.
And what were you and your roommate doing?
I'll object. We covered this ground during her testimony previously.
Objection and grounds for, I object to that and grounds for the objection on behalf of the state.
Mr. Brooks, we did cover many of these topics previously, so if there's new topics, please go to those. I'll give you a little bit of leeway to lay some foundation, but go ahead, ask your question.
That's
The
with the-
objection is from the state is overruled. Do you remember the question?
You asked me what was I doing at the park with Corey? Is that your question?
Yes.
We were drinking. I was drinking Mike's hard beverage.
Do you recall around what time of the evening it was when you and your roommate arrived at the park?
I do not remember. We left where we were staying a little around afternoon. A little bit around afternoon.
Do you recall you recall having any phone interactions during that time when you and your roommate were at the park?
Phone interaction, yes.
Do you recall who they were with?
You.
What do you mean by you?
Daryl Brooks.
Is that usually the name you refer to the alleged defendant by?
Nope.
Would it be fair to say that during those phone interactions, there was a talk of you guys meeting up? Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Do you recall, to the best of your recollection, what time that would have been at?
No, I don't remember. It was throughout the day.
I'm sorry, are you making references to the phone conversations being throughout the day?
Yes.
And so at some point, would it be fair to say that you did meet up with the alleged defendant?
Yes.
Do you recall what time that was?
I just told you no.
Do you recall if you were still at the park during that time or had you moved locations?
Still at the park.
And was your roommate still present with you at that time?
No, she left. We went separate ways. I stayed at the park and she went her other way with her friend.
Do you recall who that friend was?
Nick.
I'm assuming, or let me back that up. Would it be fair to say that at some point during the meetup with the alleged defendant, things got a little chaotic? That'd be fair to say?
Yes.
And do you recall if at that point you were still at the park?
When we met up,
Yes.
well, we were at the park for a second, then we drove around.
Where did you drive to?
Around, then me and you, Mr. Brooks, were arguing in the car. We went up this is a street, it's like a hill. Went up there, and then me and you got into an altercation. I got out of the car, walked back towards Frame Park.
Well, wait, again.
Hold on, she's answering your question. You
Oh,
asked her
yes.
where you drove from. Go ahead,
And then-
finish.
Yes, ma'am. And then I was walking down the street when I left your car. And that's when you followed me, and I walked back towards Frame Park, and you were following me.
Made reference to walk back to Frame Park.
I don't know the exact street name. It was I walked back down the hill. I don't know the exact street name.
Did you at any time, sorry, did you at any time during your travels back to Frame Park, did you at any time notice that there was something going on in the area?
No. When I got to Frame, I was too worried about walking back to Frame Park. When I got to Frame Park after I left it, that's when I realized there's something going on.
And did you ever arrive back at Frame Park?
Yes.
And what did you do when you arrived back at Frame Park?
I called my friend Corey and told her that me and Mr. Brooks got into an altercation. Mr. Brooks was following me. I went back to the SUV, the car, and you argued with me somewhere. I walked back across the street, and by that time, Miss Corey had walked toward us to meet up with me.
And you made reference to you calling your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall? Well, let me back up a little bit. Did you call your friend Corey or the friend that she had left you to hang out with?
Corey's phone, I kept calling her phone. Her phone kept going to voicemail, so then I called Nick's phone. He put Corey on the phone. I said Daryl Brooks had just hit me.
I'm going to back up a little bit, if I may, to the day prior, November 20th of 2021. Do you recall what you were doing that day?
Well, where I was staying at the shelter at first, I was arguing still with Mr. Brooks all throughout the day. Me and Corey had left, and Corey and I stepped away, and I went back to Frame Park. To Frame Park, that's where I met you at. Me and you also got into argument that day, but we didn't drive around. We're at the Frame Park.
So you're saying that you and the alleged defendant were together the day of November 20th, 2021?
Yes.
Do you recall around what time that was?
I do not remember.
All right, guys. So apologize for the delay there to get on screen here, but trial is over for the day. It looks like they had a short day. So what did we gather? I don't think we're, like I said, I don't think we're anywhere further beyond. Maybe we're a little bit closer to seeing things that are disturbing. One particular thing that disturbed me is the amount of just I guess you would say unkemptness of the scene in a scene that she should have been that she was allegedly responsible for. Now we've still got to hear from people on the scene as to what exactly was the responsibilities of everyone involved, et cetera, et cetera. But bottom line is it appears to me that, you know, a strong case has been made that this, hold on here, something's going on with my green screen. I don't know what it is. Hold on. There we go. That a strong case can be made that, you know, she was not in control of this scene. Now, the question is, was it her responsibility to control the scene? And if it wasn't her responsibility to control the scene, then whose was it? And I guess the state will answer that. But as the armorer on the set, that's been established. It was her range of responsibilities. Now the defense may try to mitigate that by suggesting that because she had dual roles on the set, that somehow alleviates some of the responsibilities she would have had. But essentially, what we saw today was there was text messages showing that ammunition boxes with ammunition that you know, ended up at the scene was texted to her where she was checking to see if they had that. And apparently the background on that, from what I gathered in the testimony, is she was on another movie set, and that had moved. I guess there were live rounds being shot on that previous movie set. So here's where the negligence is, right? And this is what the state's proving. This is what they're going after here, and this is what they're doing a really good job doing. She had an obligation to check every bullet that went on that set. She was on a different set where there were live rounds. She didn't check it. She knew there was live rounds on that, and that's what they're going to prove. Then she brings it on set. She didn't check it, and that ended up in the bullet straps of Alec Baldwin. Now, again, we haven't heard testimony as to whether or not how that got there, or who knew it was there, or was Alec Baldwin requesting live rounds. I know there was some outside of court things I heard that suggested that there was live rounds being fired, and they were doing target practice and stuff, you know, as part of just a way to pass time, because they're out in the middle of nowhere and they're out on this ranch. But the bottom line is, when they checked some of the things that the actors had, there were live rounds found. That's what we saw, right? So, and it's her responsibility to check that, and she brought it on. So she can't escape this as saying, hey, you know, the first thing is there should have never been live rounds brought on a movie set. I think Alec Baldwin says that in his police statement. That's not going to come in, but he's saying that. I recall watching his police statement saying there should have never been a live round. I don't know how they got on there. Should never have been live rounds. We know she was particularly, obviously, not very responsible. We know at night she was leaving the set. She was drinking. She was getting high. She was partying. She wasn't worried about her responsibilities, and she wasn't coming in clear-minded, serious-minded, ready to go, and that is negligent, right? Her entire approach was negligent, and when you're responsible for firearms, you're responsible for the most dangerous thing on the set, next to maybe being responsible for like pyro or something like that. And if you're coming to the set, now, one question that could be posed is if all this was going on, who else missed her in that state, right? That led to this. And if we can directly say that, again, and this is what the state's having to make, again, there's got to be a causal link. Just because she was all those things doesn't mean she was necessarily responsible ultimately for what ends up happening here. But, you know, by showing that essentially it was one of the bullets, one of the live rounds that came from this other set, and that's what they're establishing. Okay, so that's what I want you to understand. That's what we saw in that text message. That's why those text messages were brought in. If that can be directly shown that she brought that on set, then didn't follow protocols to ensure that there were no live rounds in that, and then out of that, whether she's the one that loaded it or someone else loaded it, she was the one that was responsible for ensuring that those were dummy bullets. When she failed to do that, just like in the Crumley case, where you have where the father's, you know, going to learn that they failed to, you know, if you fail to secure a firearm. Now, in that case, the uniqueness of the Crumley case is there was an intentional act, so that breaks this. But in this case, it's the definition of not securing things, not making sure firearms are secured, and she faces the charge. So she's got a separate set of facts, which is why she's on trial separately from Alec Baldwin. Now, Alec Baldwin, regardless of whether he thought it was dummy bullets or not, has an obligation to safely carry and handle that firearm. So if he's doing a crossbody maneuver, he's not taking his training, so he's not aware of the danger of that. He's not aware that when you're doing blocking, which is what he was doing, you're not supposed to actually have a firearm during that process. You're supposed to use either like a wooden prop gun or a stick, something other than that. So what he was doing was negligent. Now you might say, well, if he went through training and it was failed to be included in the training, it's not his problem. But if he doesn't complete that training, shows up on set and starts doing things outside of that training, that is the definition of negligence. That is the definition of what can lead here to where he then goes and does something unsafe. Whether he knew there was a bullet in it or not, he mishandled the firearm in a way that whether it's, even if you think it's unloaded, you don't point it at another human. You don't pull the trigger and point at another human. And you certainly don't do crossbody draws practicing something with a gun, and even if you think it's loaded, that could potentially lead to a discharge, which is what that maneuver does. And it's dangerous because it sweeps across where humans are. And of course, we all say, well, again, you can almost see where somebody with the arrogance of a movie star would think that's never going to happen. And these are all things that, so many times in the workplace, you would hear people saying, oh no, it's a waste of time. Why do I need to do that? Well, it's not a waste of time when something like this happens, because when something like this happens, you're going to get held accountable, and you're going to get held accountable in a big way, and you're going to get held accountable for something like involuntary manslaughter, like Alec Baldwin may have happened to him when he goes on trial. And in her case, she was just an arrogant, unprepared little kid, not following protocols because it was inconvenient and it got in the way. She wasn't spending the time doing the things. It's why she got kicked off of other places. Her dad was a famed armorer, and she got the pass multiple times. And now Halyna paid with her life. And, like I said, I think that, to me, this case is made when you watch that police body cam video that I showed earlier on the AM show. And I don't have it queued up, so I'm not going to show it again right now. But, of her saying, is she dead? I'm so sorry. She knew she fucked up. And she knew she wasn't being responsible. She knew that everything that she'd been told could happen had just happened. And she knew that she was the one that was responsible, and she was scared to death. And that's why she kept saying, I'm scared, I'm scared, I'm scared. And of course, at that moment, nobody's wanting to say you're going to go to jail or we're going to charge you. At this point, it's a figure it out. It's secure the weapons. It's let's try to get things. You have an undermanned sheriff department. It wasn't an ideal situation for anyone at that moment. But the bottom line is, I think the state's doing a pretty good job here. I think this is going to be, when this case gets sent to the jury, the defense is doing a good job of what they have. They're raising questions where there's questions, and the questions are the quality of the investigation. But in a case like this, the quality of investigation doesn't matter, because we're not talking about, it'd be one thing if we were talking about there was a fight on set and there was a struggle and the gun went off in the middle of the struggle and she was saying it was this and the police failed to preserve certain evidence. That's not the case here. And it sounds like, based on what we heard from some of the foundational witnesses that came in today, that there's going to be behind the scenes video evidence demonstrating that the condition of that set was not something that developed due to the chaos of somebody being shot. That was a working work product the entire time, and that was a product of her negligence, her disarray, her disorganization. And unfortunately, for this young lady, when you're in that important of a position, lives mattered. She didn't take the proper precautions, and unfortunately, I think she should have worked out a plea bargain here. I think she should have worked out a plea bargain and never taken this to trial, and just said, you know what, I made a mistake, I messed up, because I think that she's going to get found guilty. That's my opinion. Again, I know I'm jumping. We have the presumption of innocence, but listen, I'm just saying what I saw here, what I've seen, and we haven't even got it into what I expect the state to present, which is going to be, I think the state's going to walk out here with a really strong case. So for those of you that would think that I'm only, because of you see my coverage of the Tucker case, that I'm pro prosecution or pro defense. No, I'm not. I'm pro the process, and I like to judge the process. And I believe there are many guilty people that are proven guilty, and there are many innocent people that are proven not, probably not enough proven not guilty, but there are. But to me, I'm going to call it like I see it. And in this case, this is what I see, and I think we're going to see that bear out. Now, I could be wrong. You never know. And there's a lot of trial left, so there could be some things that come in that I go back and I'm looking at this video and I go, oh, wow, look how I evolved in my thinking, and the danger of jumping too soon. So if I was on the jury, the judge would be instructing me right now to draw no conclusions, and I guess that's the danger of what I'm doing, is trying to be a kind of a 13th juror here. When you start drawing conclusions, it starts to close your mind out to other possibilities. So I'm not going to do that. I got to stop myself from doing that. But that's how I feel about what I've seen so far. I think the state's making a good case, but I'm going to fight the urge to draw any definite conclusions. I'm still going to give Hannah Gutierrez the benefit of beyond a reasonable doubt, because I'm making a lot of assumptions, and I'm going to see if the state can close this case and close out any doubt for me as to whether or not she's guilty of involuntary manslaughter. I think that they will, but again, we'll see. And so far, I'm not moved or impressed by the defense's demonstrations. I mean, I think it shows that this was an inept sheriff's department that was handling the investigation, but I don't believe it's going to have the impact on Hannah Gutierrez's case. Now, could it have an impact on Alec Baldwin's? That's a whole other story. It almost makes me feel like, I don't know if this is the same lawyers that are going to be involved in his case. It feels to me like they're doing a lot of preparation. They're doing a lot of like preparing for his case, asking a lot of questions, doing a lot of things, getting into a lot of things, because to me it's interesting. I mean, it's a viable argument, obviously, that you can make to say, hey, the police investigation was bad, so a lot of the things that emanate from this, we have to trust phone records, we have to trust witness statements they've taken, we have to trust. But the bottom line is in the end, this case doesn't take a lot of physical evidence. And the fact that if they didn't have corroborating video, which I think they're going to, as to the state of that set, I think it would be much more difficult. And the fact that they had people quitting on that set due to safety, she's the armorer, okay? So at the end of the day, she's responsible for it. She should have been one of the people quitting if it was that bad, or were they quitting because of her? Well, the state put on people that testify about their feelings about how she acted when she was in the position of authority on that set. Anyways, so we have a weekend, guys. I am going to be back on Monday covering this case over the weekend. We're going to get into some other things. I'm also going to be broadcasting. Hopefully, I'm going to start trying to put together a nightly show where we just talk about cases that are going on. We look at news clips. We watch things. Again, just something I like to do that anyway. So I figure, why not bring you guys along with me while I'm watching, reacting, talking. I'll have a few clips arranged to review, and if we get through all of them, great. If not, because we start talking, that's great too. So join me. I'll be putting up an announcement for the time. I'm thinking around 9 o'clock, and just go like 9 to 10 or 9 to 11, depending on how long it lasts and how many people get involved. If the conversation's really good, we'll go until the conversation ends. If not, then it may just be me up here talking and reacting to videos, and people can come in and out and say hi, and we'll talk about cases that are going on, past cases, different various things. So I'll be putting an announcement out. We're going to do the first show tonight on that, where I'm going to be, like I said, coming on, and it's just going to be kind of a review of videos, reacting to videos, going over what's going on in the week of justice. We've got some verdicts this week. We've had some interesting things going on in the justice system. And there's things I'd like to talk about, and it's not always, just because I'm covering one case in particular. There's other cases I'd like to talk about, watch different things, and there's a lot going on. So I'm keeping a private playlist of those videos I want to discuss, and that's what we're going to get into tonight when we get in there, and we'll be doing that. I don't know that I can guarantee I'll do it every night, but I'm going to try to do it a couple nights a week where we just kind of have some time to get together. People stop in and out. No, just stop in, say hello. We talk about the justice system. We talk about what's going on. Maybe we'll have eventually some friends stop by, like Mr. Tucker, and maybe I'll have them up as guests. And it'll just be kind of an informal, impromptu opportunity for us to all come together and talk about the justice system, talk about what's going on out there. And, if you've got a suggestion, I've got a clip that I'm going to play from someone who sent me a clip. It's regarding the Tucker case. It was just absolutely on point. I appreciate it. It's a Vinnie Politan clip where Vinnie Politan absolutely takes apart the treehouse prosecutors. We're going to watch that tonight. It's not available on YouTube. This gentleman, I missed it when it was aired. So I really appreciate him sending it to me because I have the link to it. It's still live if you go through, I guess, Court TV's archives, but having that link, what you're seeing that, I had no idea that Vinnie Politan just took apart the treehouse prosecutors like he did on the night of the mistrial. So we're going to watch that tonight. That should be interesting. So lots of good things going on. And of course, we'll talk further about this case because this is the case we're following right now. So like I said, it'll just give us an opportunity to talk, go over things, and hopefully, have some fruitful, worthwhile discussion about whatever it is. Well, like I said, I'll come on with a few clips, and then we'll kind of take it from there wherever the chat goes. So that's where we're at on that, guys. I appreciate everybody that stopped in, everybody that said hello, everybody that hit the like button, everybody that gave us a little bit of watch time. I appreciate it. Become a channel member. It's an opportunity. I streamlined it a little bit. There's 2 channel membership opportunities. So check it out. See if it's something you'd be interested in. Becoming a little deeper involved in justice as a process, because our goal is to watch justice and watch it unfold. And, it starts with not just me watching, but you. So, your support means the world. If and us being able to connect, we're going to have members only live streams. We're going to have members only times where it'll be members only chats. We might have guests on eventually that might be members only. So it'll behoove you to get your membership. Get in there now, and become a part of the team. Anyways, guys, with that said, I'll stop trying to talk about that and plug that, but I'll see you guys hopefully this evening, if all goes as planned, about 9 o'clock. I'll put an official announcement out, and we'll go from there. So like I said, in the meantime, let justice prevail, and I'll talk to you soon.